Do I read the books that I haul? Let's find out. G'day to all you lovely people and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to do a checkup or audit of several book hauls that I have brought out. I want to see and show you guys whether I'm actually reading the books that I buy. I've done a similar video a while ago, but recently I saw two videos. One was by Gavin from Gavin Reads It All. I love his channel. And also by Tori from Tori Talks, another wonderful YouTuber. And I much preferred their format to the one I had used in the past. So I'm going to borrow their format for the purposes of this video. One reason I like doing videos like this is it also helps remind me of certain books that I might have forgotten that I bought a few years ago. And hopefully I will get to them sooner rather than later. So this video, I am covering the period of 2021 till the end of 2023. And there are 6 haul videos that I brought out during that period. And I will list all those videos in my description box below, as well as the first video I did where I did a checkup on whether I was reading the books I hauled. And after I've gone through these videos, we can have a chat about how I'm doing actually, whether I'm getting through these books or not. So let's just get started with the very first video. All right, the first video I brought out on the 8th of October 2021, my first haul video as such. And I hauled all 17 of the Dresden File books by Jim Butcher. I've read them all. This is another series by Butcher. Furies of Caldera, I have not read this. Fated by Benedict Jacker. This is part of the Alex Veary series. I've read this. Good Omens by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. I have not read this, not yet. I've read Mort. In fact, I only have 2 of the Discworld books left. I've read The Colour of Magic. Sorcery is read. Practical Magic. I have not been in the mood to read this by Alice Hoffman. I really like the film. I just have to be in the mood, and at the moment I'm not. So if I get in the mood, I guess I'll read it, but not yet. Gwendy's Button Box, I have read by Stephen King. The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson, I have read this. Did not like it, I'm not continuing with the series. The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss, I have not read this, and I'm in 2 minds whether to read it because I know the series isn't finished. I might. Gardens of the Moon by Stephen Erickson, the first Malazan book. Yes, I have read this, as you guys already know. The Witcher series, The Last Wish by Andrzej Sapkowski. This is a collection of short stories. I have read all the Witcher books, except for the very new that have just come out. And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. This is my paperback edition. Yes, I have read this. The Fire Dragon and The Black Raven by Catherine Kerr, part of her DeVere Cycle series. Now these 2 I have not read yet. It by Stephen King. I've read this many times, but I could not find my copy, which is why I bought this. The Lies of Loch Lamora by Scott Lynch, the first book in the Gentleman Bastard series. I have not read this. The next book haul video came out on 28th of January 22, but it was of books I had bought in 2021. So let's see what I've read out of this. So here I talk about the Discworld books in hardcover. I bought a couple because I wasn't sure if I wanted the hardcovers or paperbacks, and I preferred the paperbacks. I also have a few more. Yes, I've read Equal Rights and the Light Fantastic. I also bought the 2 short story collections by Jim Butcher, part of the Dresden Files. I've read Side Jobs, but not Briefcases yet. This is the Witcher books, Blood of Elves. I've read this. Chosen by Jacka and Taken and Cursed, all part of the Alex Viris series. I've read them. I think I mentioned here I have 13 Agatha Christie books. I've read them all. I talk a lot. Now, Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell in paperback I have unhauled because I've replaced it with a hardcover. So I'm not including it as unread here. Susanna Kersley, Bellwether. I have not read this. I love some books by this author. They are a little bit more romance. I haven't been in the mood, so this one is unread. The Dry I've read by Jane Harper. Empire of the Vampire by J. Christoph I've also read. The Last House on Needless Street by Catriona Ward I have read. Didn't love it though. Christos Tsiolkas, 7.5. This one I have not read. I tend to buy all his books, but they're more literary and I just haven't been in the mood. Later by Stephen King I've read. Rivers of London by Ben Aronovich, I've read this. The J.K. Rowling Harry Potter books, I've read all of those. 1984 by George Orwell, I've read this one. Really don't like this copy. I've talked about it in the past. Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, I've read that. Dracula by Bram Stoker, I've read that many years ago. The Arabian Nights, I actually have another copy of this, and I've read some, I haven't read all, so I don't know, do I include it as an unread? Usually I do when it's not finished, so you can consider this partly read. The Iliad and the Odyssey by Homer, I've read these. Little Women and Other Novels by Louisa May Alcott, I have read these. Jane Austen, the 7 novels, I've read all of these. Many years ago. So this next haul video I brought out on 29th of April 2022. My birthday, yeah. So let's go through it and see what I read and what I haven't read. It seems that this is when I was still uncertain if I wanted the hardcovers or paperbacks. I've read Eric. I decided to go with all the paperbacks. So these next few books, these Discworld books, I've read them. Now, all of these Agatha Christie books, I have actually read them. They're all, or the remaining Poirot books. Dead House Gates by Stephen Erickson. Yes, I've read this. Stephen King, The Colorado Kid. I've read this. Force of Nature by Jane Harper. I've read this. Benedict Jacker, Hidden, part of the Alex Very series. I've read this. I've read all the rest of the Witcher books. Warriors of God by Andrzej Sapkowski. This is part of a new trilogy. I've actually replaced this trade paperback with a hardcover, so I'm considering it unhauled, and it is unread though. The Red Rising trilogy by Pierce Brown. I've read the first 3 books. In fact, I've replaced these also with hardcovers, but they're read. I have not continued with the rest, Iron Gold and Dark Age, so they're unread. Peace Talks by Jim Butcher. This is the hardcover of the book. I've read this. Aeronaut's Windlass by Jim Butcher, part of the Cinder Spice. Read it. Really liked it. Prince of Thorns by Mark Lawrence. I just read this, actually, just a few weeks ago. Moon Over Soho and Whispers Underground by Aronovich. I've read both of these. The Poppy War. I have not read this. Last Smile in Sunder City by Luke Arnold. I've read. This is urban fantasy. This is also urban fantasy. The Rook by Daniel O'Malley. I read it, didn't like it. Thrawn by Timothy Zahn. I've read this. I love this cover. The Travelling Cat Chronicles. I've read this. I actually read it this year. The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins. I've read this. Orlando by Virginia Woolf. I've read this as well. The Master Margarita by Bulgakov. I can't pronounce his name. I've read this. A Christmas Carol by Dickens. I've read that. Madame Bovary by Flaubert. I just finished that actually. 1984 by Orwell. Yes, I've read this. Greek Tales and Myths. I have read part, but not all, so I'm including it as unread. H.G. Wells. I've read most of these, so I'm including it as a read. The Jules Verne novels, I've only read one, so this is unread. Yeah. All right, this 4th book haul is of classics. It came out on 29th of July 2022. Let's see which ones I've read and which I haven't. Jules Verne, Journey to the Centre of the Earth. I have not read that. Have not read 20,000 Leagues, and I have not read 5 Weeks in a Balloon. Aesop's Fables, I've read some, but I'm including it as unread because I have not read this specific edition. William Shakespeare, these 3 plays, I have read all these. The Last Man by Mary Shelley. I have been wanting to read this for ages. I have not read it yet. The Hunchback of Notre Dame I have not read. The Three Musketeers I've read. I have not read 20 Years After yet by Dumas, or The Man in the Iron Mask. Middlemarch by George Eliot? No. Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad? No. Dangerous Liaisons. I have not read this and I really want to. I think there's going to be a few unread here. Crime and Punishment, I've read. The Karamazov Brothers, I've read by Dostoevsky. The Idiot, I haven't read. This is so small. I think this is The Scarlet Pimpernel. I have read this by Baroness Orczy. They're really cute books, but they're way too small. The print is really small. Anne of Green Gables, I've read. The Count of Monte Cristo, I haven't read yet. Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. I've read this. I've read The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson. Paradise Lost by John Milton. I have not read this, though I'd like to. It's poetry, I believe. Sun Tzu's The Art of War. I have read this. many years ago. Edgar Allan Poe, I've read all his works. Robert Louis Stevenson, I have not read all of these. Anne of Green Gables, this is another edition. I do like this edition, and I have read this. The Wind in the Willows, I have read this. The Chronicles of Narnia, I've read all of these. And actually, I reread them recently. Animal Farm by Orwell, I've read this. You'll see some of these are copies of other editions I have. Jane Eyre, I've read by Bronte. Tenant of Wilful Hall, I've also read this by Anne Bronte. I actually want to reread it because it's been a long time. Secret Garden, I have not read this, and I've been meaning to for years. Pride and Prejudice, I have read by Jane Austen. Emma, I have read. Wuthering Heights, I've read by Emily Bronte. Little Women, I have read by Louisa May Alcott. The Complete Sherlock Holmes, I actually have read this many, many years ago. I started rereading it. I haven't progressed more than I think the first book. The Complete Tales of Lovecraft. I have not read all of these. In fact, I've only read a few, so I'm including it as unread. The Complete Grimm's Fairy Tales. I have read probably 90% of these over many years, but not this copy. Still, because I have read most of the stories, I'm including it as read. The next book call came out on the 15th of September 2023. So let's see what I have read and what I haven't read. This is where I think I show you the rest of the Discworld books, and I have read all except for the last two. And I think it was 18. Read it. Read it. Read it. Read it. Read it. That one I haven't read. It's the last one. Read that. Read that. And that one I haven't read, Raising Steam. I don't regret buying them because I love them. Valor I have not read by Gwyn. I haven't read this series. It's on my list. I haven't read Fall of Hyperion or The Rise of Endymion or Endymion. The Tea Ladies by Amanda Hampson. I've read this. Didn't love it. The Hangman's Song by James Oswald. I haven't read this. And I haven't read this. The Never Game by Jeffrey Deaver. I've read The Survivors by Harper. I haven't read 0 Days by Ruth Ware or The It Girl. The Bookbinder of Jericho. I have not read this yet. This was a birthday gift. I haven't read The Innocent by Harlan Coben. I was looking to try a few mysteries. Haven't read Win or The Boy from the Woods. Have not read The Wind Knows My Name by Isabel Allende. This is where I've replaced the trade paperbacks. I have not read The Tower of Fools or Warriors of God or The Light Perpetual, which is the final book in this trilogy. I have read A World of Curiosities and The Madness of Crowds by Louise Penny. I'm up to date with her books. Dark Matter. I have read this. Love this book by Blake Crouch. I wanted the hardcover. The next lot are the Stephanie Plum books by Janet Evanovich. I've read up to book 10, so I haven't read this one. Sizzling 16 or 14 or 12 or 11. I have read 9, I have read 8, and I've read 6. Northanger Abbey by Austen, I've read that. Sense and Sensibility, I've read that as well. War and Peace, I have not read that by Tolstoy, not yet. The last book haul I'm going to cover in this video came out on 5th of January 2024. However, it was books that I had hauled in 23. So let's see how many I have read. Clive Barker, The Great and Secret Show. I have not read this yet. Homeland by Salvatore, part of the Driss series. This was replacing some of my old copies. I have read this. I've read Sojourn. Mystery of Three Quarters by Sophie Hannah. I've read that. I've read Snuff by Pratchett. And I've read Wintersmith. This must be the last few Pratchett books that I didn't have in the previous haul. The Lost Man by Harper, I've read this. I have not read The Spirit Stone, The Shadow Isle, The Silver Mage by Catherine Kerr. They're part of her Devery cycle, but I think they're further down in the series. I'm not up to them yet. Age of Assassins, I have not read this by Barker. I wanted to try him, so I bought the first book. Pines by Blake Crouch. This is the trilogy of books. I've read these. I love this series. Norse mythology and Celtic mythology. I have not read these, though I have read bits and pieces over the years. Dracula. Yes, this is me just collecting as many Chiltern classics as I can find. I've read this. Oliver Twist. I have not read this one yet. Soon, though. These are some hardcover or new edition hardcovers of Agatha Christie's Poirot books. I love them so much that I bought a few. And of course, I've read them all. But they're just gorgeous, aren't they? This is more of the Stephanie Plum books. I have not read 17 or 13 or 18 or 15. I've read 10. Next are the Louise Penny books, part of her Spectre Gamache series. I've read them all. I have read this by Sarah Douglas. It's a replacement of a paperback or additional copy. This is book 1. And I have read Enchanter, the second book in the series. These are also replacing some of my book club edition sizes of King's books. They're all read. I have read Holly. I have read The Last Devil to Die by Richard Osman. I have not read this most recent book by Julie Cooper, Tackle. I really love her books. I just haven't been in the mood. Yeah. So in total, I hauled 267 books in that 3-year period. There are 198 that are read, there are 66 unread, and there were 3 that I unhauled. And some of those unhauls were simply replacing paperbacks with hardcovers. I did an estimate. I think that means that I only have 1/4 that are unread. or 25%, which I am very, very happy with. That means I read close to 75% of these books. It's still 66 books and I would like to get to some of them, but I'm also aware that some will remain unread for a while yet because I need to be in the right mood to read certain books. Yeah, but overall, I'm very, very happy with these figures. I'm actually a little impressed with myself that I was able to read so many of these books, that there aren't all that many that aren't read. I know, however, that if I included all the books I hauled last year, there will be a lot more books unread because they're newer. And I do try to read older books I've hauled rather than the ones that have just come out. Perhaps I'm unusual in that. I know a lot of people tend to gravitate towards new releases. Yeah, not me. I can sit on new releases for a while. I'm in no major rush. And I feel better if I read older books rather than just the new ones. Only in that I feel, okay, I didn't just buy them and stick them on the shelf. They're actually getting read. Yeah. So to sum up, I'm very happy with the ratio of read to unread. It is much better than I expected. I will do another one of these videos covering, say, 2 years in the future, maybe at the end of next year. We'll see when I get in the mood, because I have to admit these videos do take a while to make. Nevertheless, I hope that you found it interesting, because I certainly did. And if you did, I would love to hear what you thought of this video, what you think of my figures. What are you like when it comes to reading book hauls? Do you read all the books you buy before you buy the next lot? Because I definitely don't like doing that. I want to have quite a few to choose from. Thank you all so very much for watching. I really do appreciate all of you. And if you like this video, you know what to do, right? You can like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. I also have a Patreon account if you wish to support me in that way. I hope you all have a beautiful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.